Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Rajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Rajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Adi Jamuna Tira Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanana Brajajana Yashanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tida Vanachari Munatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Ashtottara Satashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kunigiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Jamunamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 12, text 21. Tanvinam agranir esha tuyas dvayoho utasha ivadur tarshaha samudra ivadustaraha. Tanvinam agranir esha tuyas dvayoho utasha ivadur tarshaha samudra ivadustaraha. Tanvinam agranir esha tuyas dvayoho utasha ivadur tarsha samudra ivadustaraha. Tanvinam, of bowmen, agranihi, the foremost, esha, this child, tulya, equally good, cha, and arjunayoho, of the Arjunas, dvayoho, of the two, utasha, durtarsha, irresistible, samudra, eva, like, dustara, unsurpassable. Translation. Amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as the Arjunas. He will be as irresistible as fire and as unsurpassable as the ocean. Purport. In history, there are two Arjuns. One is Kartavirya Arjun, the king of Hai, and the other is the grandfather of the child. Both the Arjuns are famous for their bowmanship, and the child Parikshit is foretold to be equal to both of them, particularly in fighting. A short description of the Pandava Arjun is given below. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Midam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Shapadantikam Pandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Rupam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajimam Sadvaitam Savatutam Pavijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Brindashari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari, Hari Rama Hari Rama, Rama Hari Hari. Before we jump into the report, I just wanted to announce again that the Open Vyas Puja book is receiving offerings. Let's see if we can get the information on our screen. Oh, wow. Yes. So every disciple of Prabhupada, is welcome to contribute an offering. The deadline is the 15th of April. And you submit your offering just by going to www.sptributes.com. The submission guidelines are there, how long it can be, what might be off limits. Not too much is off limits. And that's it. So this is, again, open to all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and we warm to send an offering. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Now, back to the purport. Let's see. Danvinam agrinir esha tulyas charjunayor tvayoho utasha eva durdharsha samudra eva dustara. The child will be equal to the in fighting. One Arjuna is Pandava Arjuna, who's about to be described. The other is Kartavirya Arjuna. We hear about him in the 9th canto because he killed the father of Lord Parshuram, Jamadagni. There was some, Jamadagni had a Surabhi cow, and Kartavirya Arjuna wanted it, and when he didn't get it, then he killed Parshuram's father, for which Parshuram retaliated by killing so many degraded creatures. So now to the Pandava Arjuna. The great hero of the Bhagavad Gita. He is the Kshetra son of Maharaj Pandu, meaning that he was born of Maharaj Pandu, not Maharaj Pandu's wife, but not by Pandu himself. Queen Kunti Devi could call for any one of the demigods, and thus she called Indra, and Arjuna was born by him. Arjuna is therefore a plenary part of the heavenly king Indra. He was born in the month of Phalgun, February, March, and therefore he is also called Phalguni. When he appeared as the son of Kunti, his fate was proclaimed by air messages, and all the important personalities from different parts of the universe, such as the demigods, the Gandharvas, the Adityas, and the sun globe, the Rudras, the Vasus, the Nagas, the different rishis, sages of importance, and the Apsaras, the society girls of heaven, all attended the ceremony. The Apsaras pleased everyone by their heavenly dances and songs. Vasudeva, the father of Lord Krishna and the maternal uncle of Arjuna, sent his priest representative, Kashyapa, to purify Arjuna by all the prescribed sanskars, or reformatory processes. His sanskar, being given a name, was performed in the presence of the rishi residents of Shatasringa. Four: Draupadi, Subhadra, Chitrangada, and Lupi. from whom he got 4 sons of the names Shrutakirti, Abhimanyu, Babruvahan, and Iravan, respectively. During his student life, he was entrusted to study under the great professor Dronacharya, along with other Pandavas and the Kurus. But he excelled everyone by his studious intensity, and Dronacharya was especially attracted by his disciplinary affection. Dronacharya accepted him as a first-grade scholar and loved heartily to bestow upon him all the blessings of military science. He was so ardent a student that he used to practice bowmanship even at night, and for all these reasons, Professor Dronacharya was determined to make him the topmost bowman of the world. He passed very brilliantly the examination in piercing the target, and Dronacharya was very pleased. Royal families at Manipur and Tripura are descendants of Arjun's son, Babruvahan. Arjun saved Dronacharya from the attack of a crocodile, and the Acharya, being pleased with him, rewarded him with a weapon of the name Brahmashira. Maharaj Drupad was inimical toward Dronacharya, and thus when he attacked the Acharya, Arjun got him arrested and brought him before Dronacharya. The city of the name Ahitchatra, belonging to Maharaj Drupad, and after taking it over to Dronacharya, the confidential treatment of the weapon Brahmashira was explained to Arjun, and Dronacharya had Arjun promise that he would use the weapon if necessary when he, Dronacharya, personally became an enemy of Arjun. By this, the Acharya forecasted the future of Kurukshetra, in which Dronacharya was on the opposite side. Maharaj Drupad, although defeated by Arjun on behalf of his professor Dronacharya, decided to hand over his daughter Draupadi to his young combatant. But he was disappointed when he heard the false news of Arjun's in the fire of a lac house, intrigued by Duryodhana. Maharaj Drupad therefore arranged Draupadi's personal selection of a groom with the eye of a fish hanging on the side. This trick was especially made because only Arjun could do it, and Drupad was successful in desire to hand over his equally worthy daughter to Arjun. Arjun and his brothers were at that time living incognito under agreement with Duryodhana, and they attended the meeting of his selection in the dress of Brahmanas. When all the assembled Kshatriya kings saw that a poor Brahmin had been garlanded by Draupadi as her lord, Sri Krishna disclosed his identity to Balaram. Arjun met Ulupi at Haridwar, and was attracted by that girl who belonged to Nagaland. Iravan was born. Similarly, he met Chitrangada, a daughter of the king of Manipur, and thus Babruvahan was born. Lord Sri Krishna made a plan for Arjuna kidnap Subhadra, the sister of Sri Krishna, because Baldev was inclined to hand her over to Duryodhana. Yudhishthira also agreed with Sri Krishna, and thus Subhadra was taken by force by Arjuna and then married to him. Subhadra's son was Abhimanyu, the father of Parikshit Maharaj, the posthumous child. Arjuna satisfied the fire god by setting fire to the Khandava forest, and thus the fire god gave him a weapon. Indra was angry when the fire in the Khandava forest, and thus Indra, assisted by all other demigods, began fighting with Arjuna for his great challenge. They were defeated by Arjuna. Indradev returned to his heavenly kingdom. Arjuna also promised all protection to one Mayasura, and the latter presented him with a valuable conch shell, celebrated as the Devadatta. Similarly, he received many other valuable weapons from Indradev when Indradev was satisfied to see his chivalry. We'll stop there in the purport. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyanan Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadati Shapadantikam Bande Hang Guru Shri Jatapata Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Well, we've spoken these things before. Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitanscha. But doesn't hurt to say them twice. This is a short, brief description of Arjuna, the great hero of Mahabharata. There are so many topics that could be elaborated, but Srila Prabhupada, as he said, has given only a brief description of Arjuna. Otherwise, expansive descriptions are there. Significant is the context here that the sages wanted to know of this child, Parikshit Maharaj. Not the sages wanted to know. Yudhishthira Maharaj, the Pandavas, wanted to know about the future of this child. And the sages, they're expert astrologers and expert past, present, and future, are reassuring him, highly qualified. He'll be irresistible like fire, unsurpassable like the ocean, and he'll be the foremost bowman like the Arjunas. So in this way, they were asking about Parikshit's future. The concern was, will he be a worthy descendant of his forefathers? Will he be a fit person to continue the dynasty? This was their concern. The question was especially important because he was the heir. He would be the heir to the throne since Abhimanyu had been killed at Kurukshetra. The boy, this boy, Parikshit, would be the next in line. And so from that point of view, will he be fit? Or in any family, we want to know, will the child be worthy whether it's in business or whether it's in Brahminical pursuits or whether it's in any occupation, will this child be fit? In the Chanukya shloka, it said that if there's one good child in the family, the whole family is glorified. Just as when there's one fragrant flower in the forest. When there's one fragrant flower, the whole forest becomes aromatic. And one good son in the family glorifies the whole family. Or on the other hand, if there's fire in the hollow of one tree, the whole forest burns down. So a bad son disgraces the family. Just like we have our Bin Laden family, which maybe Bin Laden is a hero in some quarters. In most parts, the family is tainted because the son was is known as a terrorist. So then Bin Laden means terrorism. So in this way, the name of the family is either glorified or plunged into disrepute by the son. So the Pandavas were keen to know, will this be qualified? With these things in mind, how much was given to have a good son? That the marriages were carefully considered. Will this match be suitable for bringing into the world good children? It wasn't just, will it be good for sense gratification? Will good children be born? Is the family on either side, on both, is the family respectable? Are the parents of good character? Is the couple suitably matched? Are they suitably matched? In this way, yes, they would arrange very carefully that the boy and the girl would be suitable. And then so many ceremonies were observed just to see that there'd be good children. The marriage ceremony was one purificatory ceremony, but starting from Garbhadhan, going back to the parents, before their birth, there would be the Garbhadhan samskar for begetting good children. Then Jatakarma and other ceremonies, just to purify the child. We read in the purport that Vasudeva sent his priest Kashyap for the purification of the child. So there would be so much care taken that the child should be of high quality. The expression is still there in English, good breeding. Good breeding. So they would want to see to that, because it was so important. Not that children should just be born by chance or because the parents got drunk and one thing followed another. But purposefully, they would have children for advancing the principles of Dharma. One meaning of Dharma is that which sustains. So we find that in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna arguing against it, against fighting. He's arguing that elders of the family are killed, then there'll be principles of Dharma will be lost. The various ceremonies and duties will be disregarded. The women will become degraded. There'll be unwanted children, varnasank, sankaraha, and the unwanted children will make the whole world hellish, sankaro narakaya. And it's a fact. The arguments were inapt because Krishna wanted the war, but they were not without some merit. That for a progressive civilization, it's important to follow the principles of Dharma and to sustain those principles through worthy children, generation after generation. So in our Krishna consciousness movement, we don't follow this system of Garbhadan Samskara and all of that. Srila Prabhupada was asked about it by one of my godbrothers, Madhusudan. And Prabhupada said, as soon as we talk about Garbhadan Samskara, you're all mlechas, and you're unfit for these Vedic performances. But Prabhupada prescribed for begetting good children, the parents should chant Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The well-known standard was that the parents should chant 50 rounds of the holy Maha Mantra and then conceive a child. So whether by the Vedic system or Pancharatric system, the core principle is that everything should be done with dedication to the service of the personality of Godhead. In this age, everything has been simplified. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva, 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 katiranyata. Finally, everything comes down to chanting Hare Krishna. Our sincere chanting of Hare Krishna, following in the footsteps of the acharyas under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, is our process. And that's our process for worshiping the deity. There are so many regulations. We follow something, but the most important part is the Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada had Krishna Balaram installed in, and some Brahmins were hired to perform the rituals for the satisfaction of the local. Prabhupada had his disciples the whole time chanting Hare Krishna, and that the actual salvation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everything. Jiva Goswami says that program should be preceded and followed by chanting of the holy name. And this is the essence of all of our programs. Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Pabrajate. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, the one good thing is that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be free of entanglement and go back home, back to Godhead. So there's some questions here, and let's see what happens with them. Madhurja Leela asks, Pandavas had sons other than from others. Could they not have been heirs as well, or were they all killed in the battle? There are no other grandchildren other than Maharaj Parikshit. As I was reading this purport, the same question occurred to me, and I don't know the answer. We know that some of them were killed at Kurukshetra. Bhima's son Ghatotsha was also killed. Abhimanyu was killed. Then after the battle ended, then all the sons of the Pandavas were killed by Ashwatthama. The battle was over, everything was done, and then he sneaked into the camp of the Pandavas and killed the sons of all of the Pandava brothers. So that much we know. Beyond that, I can't really tell you very much. That much I know. Arjun's son Babrubahan was still alive after the Mahabharata battle. Why is it then said that Parikshit was the only Kuru descendant, and thus Krishna saved him in Uttara's womb? Same question, isn't it? Same question. So I don't know. I don't know why it was considered like that. If someone has an answer, we're all ears, please. Any other questions that I can't answer? Or any other questions bubbling up? I would expect things to be discussed in the Mahabharata. Actually, I'm staying at the Bhaktivedanta Institute house, and if I'd thought about it, I could have asked Hridananda Maharaj this question. And maybe now I'll ask him a question, not right now, but while I'm here. And maybe relay it back. Get in class next. Mahabharata is not my field. Too big. Any other questions? Weren't those 5 sons of Draupadi? Let me think about that. Five sons of Draupadi. Again, that's Mahabharata, and I'd have to go back and watch the television reruns before I'd. Yes, actually, as I remember from Bhagavatam, 5 sons of Draupadi were killed. Yes. Yes. So this whole topic is to be investigated. Then Carissa asks, Srila Prabhupada gave us the essence even though we were unqualified. Can you say more? No, we were very qualified. The Narottam Das Thakur says, Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to deliver the most fallen souls of this age. And Narottam Das Thakur, Mosamo Patita Prabhu Napaidear. I'm the most fallen, so I'm stepping forward. You please consider my case. So that's mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We entirely they're qualified means born of a good family, proper upbringing, all of these ceremonies observed, good samskars, growing up surrounded by chanting of the holy name and by an atmosphere of devotional service, and so many other good qualifications. So how many of us can say, yes, I have the benefit of all of these things? So, and purity in occupation, purity in so many ways. So in the Kali Yuga, Kalo Sudra Shambhava, everyone's born as Shudra, and then we're surrounded by Shudras. That Sanatana Goswami, what is that? Needs jati. My birth is low. I'm surrounded by low people. I'm working for low people. So what can I do? So but although unqualified, we're fortunate because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. Dinahina Yatachilo Hariname Uttarilo, to uplift the fallen. Our Sakshi Jagai Madhuri. And for that, he personally delivered Jagai Madhai, and through his representatives, especially from Srila Prabhupada and his followers, he's lifted so many more, so that this Krishna consciousness is spreading all over the world. So we have to be humble and realize or remember that what qualification do we have? I'm a great scholar, I'm a great musician, I'm a great speaker, I come from a great family, I went to a great prep school, or whatever. What is all this worth? What is all this worth? And this or a big enterprise. We're very tiny little bugs suffering miserably in this material world. We're not as great as we are. We're insignificant and lacking in so many ways. But by being connected with Krishna, by being connected through Mahaprabhu, we can be uplifted. We're being uplifted. So that people with occasions are worshiping the deities, spreading the science of Krishna, being by great of society, respected by scholars, respected by political leaders, respected by so many, or disrespected. That's sometimes a qualification too, hated, derided. But representing Krishna, representing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and pushing forward the movement of Krishna consciousness. So even if one may be the most unqualified, when blessed by Krishna, blessed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, blessed by the bona fide spiritual master, one becomes qualified. One becomes. That's the qualification. Not that one is instantly changed into a Gandharva. His voice becomes sweet like a cuckoo, or he becomes instantly a great scholar on Brihaspati, or that so many other things will happen. We're trying to, the real success is that we try to carry out the instruction by spiritual mastery, that we try to push forward the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as it is. And then we get the credit. We get the credit. Srila Prabhupada said that. Actually, it's Krishna who's doing everything. Mitra Bhavasavya Sachin, but he tells me, become my instrument. My instrument. The instrument, like a gun, what can it do? Sitting there, it can sit there on the shelf. But if an expert marksman picks it up, he can shoot and hit the target. So what are we? Independently, we're nothing. But if in the hands of the Sampradaya Acharyas, we can do some service. So let's see what other questions are here. Srila Prabhupada, can you do miracles? And he said, yes. All these devotees sitting here are my miracles. Tell me more. Yes. It's miraculous that we're engaged in devotional service. It's astonishing and wonderful. It's wonderful that people from all parts of the world, from America, from Europe, from China, from Africa, from anywhere, are all engaged in the service of Krishna. Who would expect it? So it is miraculous, and these miracles are possible. The purity of devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada showed that. There's so many yogis who do some magic tricks, and everybody miracle. Maharaj, we must remember we have two generations. Well, this is like phone text. It's hard to read. Two generations as devotees, never eaten meat from in utero at temple daily hearing. All glories to all the devotees who raised these great. Yes, that's we have to say all glories raised children. First of all, as devotees. It's that in itself is great. And the children of devotees also should think that we have to honor our families by taking seriously to this method. Of course, a young person thinks, well, I'm my own person. Why do I have to think to please other people? But there's a consciousness to think that I have to, what does it say? Honor thy mother and thy father. It doesn't just mean touch their feet or speak respectfully to them. That would probably be what we'd think. Honor thy mother, yes. But real honor means to live a life of a virtuous life of Krishna consciousness, and if possible to spread Krishna consciousness. far and wide. That really is honor. Srila Prabhupada has honored his father and mother. His parents are known all over the world. Prabhupada's father and mother are known all over the world because Prabhupada has spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So in that way, one truly honors one's parents or one's spiritual master by following. First thing is following. Not eating meat, yes. Then there are 3 other rules: no gambling, no intoxicants, no illicit sex. We should try to follow seriously. It's not just that way we honor our parents and we honor ourselves. We just dishonor ourselves by breaking these rules. We don't do anything for our benefit or upliftment or reputation or health or purity or sense control. So these 4 rules we should follow strictly. The parents should follow, first of all. And then the children should follow. Now, of course, it's easy to say all these things, and especially easy for children. But we should try our utmost to follow these standards and keep them as the standards. Not that everything becomes neglected or watered down. Simple thing, 4 regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Anyone who does just these 2 things, on the one side 4 no's, and on the other side 1 yes, that person's life will be glorious. During the times of his military training and life before meeting Krishna himself, was Arjuna a yogi, having a devotional consciousness. A yogi means he was always a devotee. Krishna said, from the time I spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god, you were also there. You were also there. So Arjuna is Krishna's devotee even before he meets Krishna. It's like we heard this conch shell is given to Arjuna, Datta, or conch shell given to Krishna, Panchajanya. So the Panchajanya conch is given to Krishna at some point. Actually, it's part of his eternal paraphernalia. But as a pastime, it's given to Krishna at some point. So similarly, Arjuna at some point meets Krishna and becomes Krishna's friend and all of that. But actually, he's eternally devotee, eternally Krishna's friend. So he's eternally the best yogi. Other questions? We do have 6 minutes. Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karama. Samo Patita. Okay, we'll give it another minute. We'll end early. Everybody can go home. Save 5 minutes. Okay, I'll again announce, because maybe there's more people this time, that the Srila Prabhupada Tributes book is inviting Prabhupada disciples to contribute their offerings. The book is open for all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and everyone is invited to contribute. The deadline is April 15th, and as reflected in the chat box, you can submit your offering at www.sptributes.com/submit. So if we want to be submissive, we can submit. The editorial guidelines are there, very simple and easy. And the offerings don't have to be long. They can be, brevity is also much appreciated, not required, but 2 lines, 4 lines, something. We can glorify Srila Prabhupada. That will be good for us. Honor thy father and thy mother. Honor thy spiritual master. This is our traditional program. That's actually what the Vyas Puja book is meant to be originally, a place where the disciples of the spiritual master can honor the spiritual master. So the book has that purpose only, that the Prabhupada's direct disciples can all have the opportunity, regardless of their service, regardless of what position they're in, regardless of even what institution they're in, or no institution, or anything, no qualifications other than to be Prabhupada's disciple. All of Prabhupada's disciples are welcome. Now the questions are coming in. Now there's 3 minutes left. When can some work be considered bhakti yoga? It's actually impossible now. They're all, well, there's 2 questions and 3 minutes. When can work be considered bhakti yoga? Anya, it can be considered bhakti yoga when it's done for the pleasure of Krishna, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. That's maybe a shortcut answer. Dashanu Das asks, Krishna knew of Arjun's. Arjun didn't know. Was he conscious of playing the role of or was he just acting according to his own nature? I understand, no, he was thinking like that. That he's not just posing a question. Krishna, how is it that you spoke to the Sangha? Really, how is it? He wasn't just posing as impressed or overwhelmed by the universal form. He was. So all of these activities, Arjuna's activities, Yashodhama's activities, Yashodhama is looking in Krishna's mouth and seeing all the universes. She's thinking, what is this? So it wasn't just that she was conscious that I'm supposed to play this role, but so in all of Krishna's pastimes, Yogamaya acts. He interacts in such a way that sometimes the devotees forget, sometimes they forget who Krishna is. Everything is adjusted for the satisfaction of Krishna in his pastimes by the arrangement of Yogamaya. So Arjuna actually was, as he said, I'm confused about my duty, but he was in by Krishna. And now we're bang on 60 minutes, so we'll stop right here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.